Wow. That has been our head teacher. Really does. That applause is not enough. What he has done for us. It has been a lecture. It has been a very good lecture that has taught many of us on how to discover our capabilities and how to discover ourselves. Personally, I've learned a lot, and I've seen where we need to improve. I mean, some mistakes I've made, and I hope all of us are also going to learn. Thank you so much, sir, for that lecture. Thank you so much, and I hope next time we'll also get another chance to hear from you. Now, that has been a very good lecture, and I know that some of us here, we have questions. If there is one or two questions that you want to ask to the team leader, to our head teacher, please step forward and ask it. He's ready to answer anything that you feel that you want to ask. He's ready to answer and give more light. If there is a question, come and address both of tongues, because really it has been nothing but amazing, and we should be very appreciative that we have him, and he does it for free without any charge.
Thank you very much for those words of empowerment and wisdom and guidance. I hope that we follow them as they come in cabinet. My question is, you say that we as students, it's very hard to be a leader. It means if you're not a leader, you're a manager. So if I'm not a manager, then what am I? If I fail to be a leader, I'm a manager. But if I'm not a manager, then what's the other option?
That is the question from the incoming Prime Minister. If she's not a leader, she's not a manager, then what is the other option? One last question. One last question. Yes, that is one of the outgoing prefects. The question for the head.
Thank you, team leader. First of all, I thank you for the facilitation. And my question is, you said a leader is someone who is having influence. But today we are seeing many people having influences, like, for example, the artists. Are they leaders, or because for the influence they have, but we are not seeing anything they are leading?
Okay, these are the two questions. Now let us keep quiet and listen for the answers from the head of school.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Prime Minister. I'll begin with your question. I wonder whether my presentation has been very clear. But I'll invite you on the 5 misconceptions that I began with. I gave them to you. The management bias, the pioneer bias, the position bias, and all those. And I told you, all those ones do not describe the leadership in the person. And I told you, what describes the leadership in the person is the art and the ability to influence. And I told you, what is influence? It's about to influence the people thinking, the people's attitude, and something. And I said, you can influence them positively or you can influence them negatively in this case. And I gave an example that when you look at that ability and you look at ourselves, do all of us feel that we have this? And I said that is true. Then I came and I said, remember, if you fail out on that and you can be a good manager. And the role of managers and in terms of art is to maintain the system and policies. And then I said, if you have been given a policy and well communicated at school, and it has been a task to you as manager, you can be a good person in maintaining that and what have you. And I told you, when you choose to be an administrator, the qualities you have. You are responsible for human resource and the material resources. How are you responsible? Taking this, and I guided you. Are you responsible in planning for human resource? Are you responsible for taking decision on human resource? When you look at the 8, all of them disqualify you to be an administrator. Are we together? Then I asked, you are left with 2 positions. Which is that? You can choose to be a good manager. Why management? Because you're maintaining what you have been given. But again, for adult life, you may need leadership. But that means you have that talent. Because that influence does not come from anywhere. It should have been given. It's a skill. It's a talent that God should have put in you, in one way or the other. The second person has asked a very good question. What about leaders? Are they, are they leaders? Yes. Think about a person like, and they are making so many, they're taking advantages of so many factors. Look at a person like Allen Skin, as he is, and the following and what have you. So sometimes even when he says something, very many people do what? Because of his leadership, even when the government is going to take a decision, they look at his influence. They look at his what? Now you want to tell me the influence Robert Chamberlain has, the influence the professors have? That's a skill. You should try to understand. And then I say, better know yourself. You can find in schools, why do we test some leaders? We have leaders who influence negatively. And then they become rebellious. I told you in this school of Kitebi, if we find you with a very good art of influence, and you're influencing negatively, opposing the policy, those who are. Why? We must be on the positive side. Why? You are doing delegated responsibility for managers. You are doing delegated responsibility for administration. And when the administration passes all those, the managers, you help them. That's why I've shown you the people, immediate people you take up in this case. But when you grow, madam, and you reach adult area, you may need the free. Where you are going to be discredited and going to be weak is to be given a position of leadership. There are many institutions. There are many people given positions of leadership, and yet you would have been. Now let me tell you an organization. You can find a person who will have a in an organization because there is a leadership. You can look at them and somebody commands, somebody everything, but if you remove that leadership, you get it, his management fails. You are seeing so many good managers. They can only be good managers because there is leadership, which is good. Why? If you lose out on that, management cannot go on. Leadership influence. Take an example. Who knew this school before I came here? The influence to change. It should be an art. You will get there. When the 3 at adult what? Stage. But you need to have discovered yourself. So what does school do? I have told Madam, but you herself wanted to be. Can we have order? We must help our learners to do the following. We must help them. Those who have chosen to be managers, in planning, in their day-to-day, can I have total silence? In their day-to-day lives, they will need to plan. Planning does not only go to the job, even at your home. In anything, when you choose to come out as a manager or somebody who is delegated to support the administration, the school must help you to train in doing this. We must train you how to make decisions. In life is full of decisions. When you make wrong decisions, you are in between life and what? How do they make decisions? As leaders in making the adult life, you need this concept. How do we have organization management? You need this concept. Right when you're still very young. That's why these leaders who have served the institution, don't just throw them away. Put them into the class and the session. And they are taught, especially those whom you see that they have been having the what? There is light in the tunnel. And you take them up. We need to train them on how to communicate. There is nothing bad like a leader who doesn't know how to communicate. You can give this microphone to a person and people sleep in the first minute. In the first minute, the audience is sleeping. How many people do you have here can speak for 7 hours and people are awake? That's a skill. Then you can talk about motivation. How do you motivate leaders? How relevant is it, even at home? How many people who go back home and they do not even take the simplest things, for example? Even when you go to a cafe Javas and you buy something, it could even be a sweet. So that the person who has opened for you a gate or a house is able to know that is back. And you can maintain the house by doing those very simple things. You need to know these are all things that help somebody in management. Then leading in itself, this one, what I'm saying, is the art of influence. No administrator can manage without the skill of leadership. If you cannot influence people, forget about administration. If you fail to control people, they have different ways. Now, you see here, you have different plans. How do I control you to be in the same issue? It's a skill. I can tell Mr. Okera and Madam that you go and organize these students. And I'm not there, and they can organize because they know there is leadership. But if they know there is no leadership, they can fail. And they know when this one fails, what you can do is clearly no. So, why am I preparing you by the opportunity? I am preparing you for this, but you better discover that you have all this that I've talked about. At the moment, you cannot lead. But you can plan to be an administration, because leadership, you need it. That's why it says school provide opportunities and grounds for you to go home. So it's up to you. If yours is to hide, they call you to do this and you hide, you're wasting our time. They should better remove you. Thank you.
That has been the answer. That has been our head teacher. That has been our head teacher. And you have been really honored and lucky that you have gotten the chance of listening from him and receiving such amazing words, free of charge, without anything as cost.
The leadership club, I said, Madam Deputy Carriers, let us try to help those people with the art, because the school can, the only function of the school is to train the future citizens in this. Can we have them with this? I don't want mediocres. Can we have them registered? You work out with this people, and you can have a session in our program. And that club can be there. It can be a leadership club, and you can put people to work, to speak, and they use some of these skills to survive in their adult life, in that case. So let's also try to look at that. And the sessions are made in respect to this. How to lead or to develop leaders in themselves, how to lead others, and how to lead effectively. Because all these sessions they need understanding. If we leave them to lead themselves, they will go astray. And eventually, we shall have done a lot of this service to the public. So that's an assignment. And the second assignment, I've told you to pick out of them 5. Those you see, add them to the system. So that they can have mentorship. Where you come in leadership and you don't have mentorship, you mess up on many occasions.
Yes, staff, you're going to forgive us, but there is one last question that has been requested. That is there.
Thank you so much, Sia, for the opportunity. First of all, I would like to thank the team leader for the wisdom shared to us. We are so lucky to have you in our corner. But my question is, actually before I ask, we realize that we've been all along managers calling ourselves leaders. We apologize for that. But my question is, there is power, influence, and authority. So what should a leader possess and so a manager? Like we have power, influence, and authority. So what should a leader possess and so a manager?
You are making me repeat the whole thing. I want you to learn in class.